Welcome back, everyone. I'm JTXRP, and again, this is going to be another installment in the Founder series. And today I have Duncan Glendinning with us, and he is the CEO of Treasury. And we're going to be hearing a little bit about his project, his role in Bloc, and about himself, as well as, of course, like everyone else, their thoughts on what the community might want to know about Bloc. So without further ado, we'll get into it here. Duncan, thank you so much again for joining me today. And
Thank you for having me.
yeah, let's go ahead and, of course, like, share, and subscribe. Just want to make sure I say that because you want to hear about other Bloc content that's coming out, as well as, also, my channel if you're interested in more of that. So, but yes, Duncan, yourself, Treasury, tell us a little bit about it.
Sure. So as you said, my name is Duncan. I'm CEO of Treasury. Treasury is a project that at the time of obviously recording this is coming up to a little over a year old in the space. Treasury is for simple remit to bring real world life utility to the XRPL. And we have four kind of themes that underpin our current white paper and our current roadmap, which is educate, reward, nurture, and protect. Mm-hmm. And to date with our project, we have ticked off the beginnings of the educate kind of commitment that we're making to the XRPL through a learn to earn academy that we've developed, so people can go onto our website, connect their wallet, and start earning crypto and actually genuinely learn. There's actual lessons on there. It's not marketing shills, it's actual education, doing your own research, market analysis, chart analysis, trends, all of those kind of things. The rewards aspect is done through the passive income that we drop through our secondary token, which is called UtiliteX. So once you've earned your Treasury TRSRY through Academy, if you hold it, you'll be dropped this UtiliteX token, which you can then trade it for XRP, or you can hold it to use it within our ecosystem. Reward is our platform, which is launch is imminent. And it is a launch pad for very young projects and absolute startup projects on the XRPL, to get them off on a very firm and good footing. So just as the Academy is doing its bit for the wider XRPL community, Venture is doing for the project starting up, and it offers mentorship, a spotlight on their community, some seed funding, and a whole suite of products and services through our partners that we've got on the Venture platform. And then the final theme of the current white paper roadmap is Protect, which is targeted for Q1 of 2023, which is going to be an insurance product, which effectively is going to give you a degree of insurance against other projects and their holdings based on the amount of UtiliteX, that secondary token that we are dropping to people who hold Treasury. So a form of insurance cover in the event that a project that you're involved with elsewhere, if we haven't previously kind of red flagged them to you through the insure pages on our website, you will get a payout from equivalent to what you hold in UtiliteX. So that's Treasury as it currently stands. There's many more things in the works, and I would say for those that are curious about Treasury, go check out our socials, but also go onto JT's channel, because JT has covered a number of the utilities. There's a great deep dive into Venture. There's a great one on Academy there. So start your journey there, because you'll get a real good understanding of what we're doing.
Awesome. Thank you for that. I'm interested in a little bit more about your role in Bloc, though, and explaining to people what you do, because not only does what you do in Bloc kind of relate to what you do in your project in some ways, it very much seems to align with what the Bloc is doing. So can you tell people about what your role is in Bloc, your position on the board, and so forth?
Absolutely. So the way Bloc came to be was a group of projects that saw a benefit and a need for something like Bloc to be established in this space. And what we did was came together, and everybody effectively played to their strengths. And that is what has largely landed everybody in the roles that they are in as Bloc board members and founding projects of Bloc. So where does Treasury and myself slot into Bloc specifically? I hold the role of onboarding officer for Bloc. And so the bulk of my work is from the point where people show an interest of projects, show an interest in wanting to join Bloc. That information gets passed on to me, and I'm effectively, beyond the information available on the Bloc website, their first point of call. And so I will make sure that they have access to the constitution, the code of conduct, the bylaws, all of the information that they need to be able to firstly understand, not have any questions over, but also be able to commit to abiding by, because that's the fundamentals of becoming a Bloc voted on member, is you agree to abide by those principles and those best practices effectively. And there's a lot of similarities as well, because in the work in Treasury, a lot of what we're doing right now is we are onboarding these startup projects and these young projects into the venture platform that we're running. So, same sort of levels of scrutiny with regards to due diligence that we're doing and the background checks on those projects, because we need to protect our community of UtiliteX voters who may be voting to back those projects and help get them off the ground. So the onboarding side of things, the kind of communication with projects and the one-to-ones is something that I'm really, really passionate about. Mm-hmm. And there is also a really nice kind of slot in, as there is with a number of the other Bloc member projects and Bloc board member projects, that there's quite a lot of synergies. So with regards to Treasury and Bloc, for example, to be a member of Bloc or to apply to Bloc, you need to be 90 days in this space. So your project needs to have been running for 90 days. And actually venture slots in much earlier than that. So if a project is still a bit too young to join Bloc, they can come to Treasury. They can go through the venture round. They can gain some funding. They can gain all the benefit of mentorship.
I'm sorry, you mean if they're on the XRPL, correct? Because Bloc is for all blockchains, not just
correct.
The XRPL. Okay.
Apologies. So yeah, so whereas Bloc is kind of blockchain agnostic, venture is very much an XRPL centric platform, at least for the time being. Gotcha. And so when people join venture because they're an XRPL project, they're not yet eligible to join Bloc. They get the benefit of the funding, the spotlight, the mentorship, and the suite of products and services. And then when they gain that 90 days in the space, arguably, they may be better positioned than having just run those first 90 days, on their own, sounding things out for themselves and having to learn from their mistakes. Because the thing that drove us to launch venture was seeing projects over and over again making the same mistakes as some of the previous projects. Mm-hmm. And so this is the benefit of hindsight. They get the benefit of our time in the space and the contacts we have with the other project leads. Some are in Bloc, some are not, that we can introduce them to. So it's a huge resource. And then another aspect that is going to tie in time with Bloc is the kind of educational kind of aspect, mm-hmm. Where there is going to be a lot of content that no doubt is going to be sort of Bloc specific, is going to be available on the website, but also we offer a lot of resources for people and in time also for projects that will be available via our academy. So there's great synergy between the organization, and that was a huge draw for us in our consideration to go on this lengthy journey to get to where we are now with Bloc, a fully launched organization.
Gotcha. Well, definitely appreciate that. It's, your project slots in really well with the alignment in terms of like if you don't have verifiable, blockchain data because you haven't launched yet, that's where, venture steps in. And who better to help projects early on and be able to mentor new projects, especially in the XRPL space, where because you are helping projects that are good actors to enter into the Bloc and making sure that they do meet those criteria as the onboarding person. We have an auditor as well, Josh Qualley, who's the I guess the one that comes after you, right?
Yes.
Who audits things, but you're the ones that vets them personally and make sure that they are good to hand off to Josh. So you're kind of like the gatekeeper of the gatekeeper, so to speak.
Effectively, I mean, the roles are done because the auditing is a very, very lengthy process. Now, whereas I'd be prepared to spend a very good deal of time with any project that is interested in Bloc, diving into all aspects of the constitution, the bylaws, the code of conduct, making sure that they're well versed, there aren't any questions that are left unanswered. But also in doing that, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to assess from the information they're giving me as to their eligibility, because I also have a very thorough understanding of what the audit is going to require them to provide in terms of information. And so if there are issues, they are issues I can feed back to them and say, look, before you fill out the audit form and go through the auditing process with the securities officer, these are the things that you might need to address. I may not catch them all, but that's a step in the right direction. And the purpose of doing that is basically avoiding lengthy audits that basically end up in a project not being eligible and then them having to then go away. You know, Bloc is designed to be inclusive for all of the good actors in this space. So there is no benefit in good actors, but that have just got a couple of those critical boxes not ticked that they could have had ticked before filling out the audit. So that's where the importance of onboarding comes in. It's not just the marketing kind of aspect of it. It's quite a critical stage in the process.
No, absolutely. And before they can even get to you, they have to actually pass a self-assessment form on the website and join Bloc. And if you are an interested, blockchain project or expert in the space that you want to lend in, you can definitely go on to join Bloc and answer those questions. Or you can also go to our contact form, which we encourage projects to go through the join Bloc page on our website. But if you are an expert and you want to apply to join Bloc or be in our experts Telegram group where we can where you can contribute essentially, then you can go to the contact page on our website and choose the onboarding option, and you can get a hold of Duncan there. In terms of Bloc, in terms of Treasury though, what links should we put in the description, or how will people reach out to you in terms of Treasury or
the easiest thing, I mean, everyone seems to run their lives with these projects these days with a link tree. Our link tree is fully up to date, so just dropping a link to our Twitter gives them access to the link tree in our profile. Our Twitter is very, very well kept up to date with regards to what is going on, project progress and everything else. But the website obviously has got the critical kind of resources through Treasury's Academy. It has got that an all-important venture platform with the kind of our onboarding process and how projects and startup can start their journey with us through venture. And that's also where people are going to go to pledge their votes and back the project of their choosing. So there's sort of different avenues. I would say the link tree in the comments at the bottom will probably give people access to all of the information they're likely to need, including, setting trust lines to our tokens before they start participating in Academy, so on and so forth.
Gotcha. We'll make sure those are in the description. What would you tell people that are, wanting to join Bloc, or anyone who's watching this who might be a community member or an investor? There's such a wide array who could possibly, look at this. What would you tell them?
As in motivations to join Bloc?
Motivations to join Bloc, why you like Bloc, any of those,
cool.
Any and all of the above.
We recognized that there was a need for something like Bloc, because as we all know right now, crypto is very unregulated. We've also, anybody who is listening to this, the chances are they have most likely been victim of a rug of some description today. And what that does, unfortunately, is it firstly harms that individual financially, but also critically, it harms the blockchain, regardless of which blockchain they're on. Because rather than the finance and the investment that individual is putting into a project of quality, it's going to someone who is then running off with their money. who is not delivering what they intended to do in their white paper or their glitzy website and Twitter account or whatever else. And so it's harmful in so many different ways. Now, in the absence of there being genuine regulation, this initiative came about, and the idea being that in that absence, there could be something there. Now, it's critical, and I'm sure they've been repeated by my fellow kind of Bloc board members, founding members, and other people you have interviewed about Bloc. It's fundamental that people understand that Bloc is not designed to police the space. That is not the purpose. The purpose of Bloc is to offer a very straightforward, very open and honest means by which projects can put themselves under a certain degree of scrutiny, so that on the other end, they are part of an organization that says this project has gone through this process and has passed. So it builds trust in that project for them having joined Bloc. That's the first thing. But the benefits to that are far greater, because what we found just in all the time, yourself, me, the other Bloc board members, everyone that's been on this lengthy journey to date to get, you know, the organization, the backbone of it structured and ready for launch. And, you know, beyond just the meetings, the amount of resources we've shared, the information that we shared amongst ourselves, the amount of opportunities that have led to collaborations between projects and individuals involved with Bloc, because there's that intrinsic trust that comes with people being involved in Bloc. And so that's the beauty of it, is it's not just effectively a kind of a spotlight and a bright green light shining on a project that has gone through that level of scrutiny. It's also, we're building a community. We're building a community where there's trust in there, because those projects and those individuals went through that process. So it's going to lead to, most likely, we're going to see the majority of collaborations as Bloc grows its membership base, most likely happening between projects and individuals that are members of Bloc, because they're the ones I will trust before people that may not have gone through that scrutiny. I'm not saying that Treasury won't do business with a project that isn't Bloc approved, but it is definitely a vote of confidence, because having done the audit myself for Treasury, I know the depths to which it goes through. And I know that it is designed in a way not to catch people out, but it is in a way that is designed to onboard the good actors in the space, but catch out the bad ones.
Yep. I was going to say, and the Bloc is like, it's going to be anti like everything we've said so far, but it's not perfect. We have contingencies to make sure that if anything does happen, you know, what do we do during those times? And it's continuously improving, right? The blockchain space is constantly moving and adapting. And it's not to say that if someone doesn't meet all the standards that they couldn't necessarily be a good project. But there's really high standards in the Bloc, and it is kind of a feat to get in the first part, and it can be a feat to stay in. There's different bylaws that people are welcome to read on our website, as well as, you know, code of conduct and our constitution, that if they violate those things, they do not remain a member. So it's really it's not to say that there's not good actors outside of this, but there's going to be this gradation, I feel like, to Bloc, to where it's going to be really interesting to see how many people really meet those standards. And what
I also think
like.
there's this sort of degree of selflessness. So to anybody that may be considering it and going, well, you know, who do they think they are to feel qualified to run something like Bloc? The fact of the matter is, these were the projects that had been communicating about whatever things, and our paths had crossed, and we were all in agreement on you know, through social channels, that this was something that was needed. We didn't handpick each other because we consider ourselves to be like on a pedestal. And like you said, the bylaws and the structures of Bloc are such that, you know, we are held to a certain standard in each of our own roles. If we don't fulfill those roles, if we don't meet the meeting requirements that are required for the board members, et cetera, then our position becomes untenable. Equally, people who join Bloc and then, pardon me, become part of the General Assembly, they are then the prime candidates that when elections and new officers get elected and subcommittees get formed and everything, that is the pool from which that expertise is going to be pulled from. And I can't speak for the other board members, but having invested so much time into the point at which we're at now, if someone came along tomorrow who was a superior person to be able to fulfill the duties that Treasury is fulfilling, I would feel an obligation to step down and yield that position to them. I would love to be able to explore another opportunity to be involved in Bloc. But that's the attitude that I approach it with, is that Bloc should be bigger than any one project or one individual. And going back to what you said, there's a great deal of work that has gone into building redundancies and fail safes and looking at as many scenarios that we could possibly look at to ensure that there's longevity in Bloc beyond the projects and individuals that are in there now. It's built for a sustainable and with longevity in mind. It's not built with a requirement and a dependency on the set individuals that happen to currently be board members or elected project members of Bloc.
Yep. And this is not just something we stood up overnight or anything or a weekend. This has been a 9-month journey. So just to anyone who's wondering, but I can't say that enough because it's been a bit, and we've undergone several different, you know, when you get people together, there's conflict, there's, there's disagreements on what a good actor looks like, and all these different things that I never even begin, especially as a content creator, to imagine in this space. And it's been really a privilege to watch, Duncan and these other people really debate and come to an agreement. And yeah, so Duncan,
I like how you're leaving yourself out of that basket, but for people who are listening, JT has played such an astronomically pivotal role through this whole process. So you're very much, you don't run your own project per se, you run your channel, but outside of that, you've been indispensable to the process. And also, going back to what I was saying, Bloc will, as you said, Bloc will evolve with the need, because we're in a constantly evolving and changing space right now. Regulations are going to change, measures are going to change. Just the other day, with the advent of all of the chaos and drama on the central exchanges, we were talking about the opportunity to potentially run roundtable discussions. There's going to be so much opportunity for both people wanting to be supportive of an organization like Bloc, and projects wanting to join Bloc, and potentially some of those projects then wanting to take up a position when a vacancy becomes available to actually be part of the more core kind of decision-making processes. But whilst there's certain things that are the underpinning with the Constitution that are less flexible, because it's there to really protect the interests of the overlying kind of principles of the Bloc organization, there is a great deal of flexibility and room for maneuver to be able to flex as this space also evolves.
Yep, absolutely. And appreciate that. We'll get into my video later. So I still need to figure out who's going to interview me for that and how that's going to work. But stick around for that and more. Duncan, thank you so much for joining me and being able to tell a little bit about the Bloc, now the Bloc community, which is now its own thing, about what you do and about Bloc. So thank you so much.
Appreciate having me.
Yes, all the links will be in the description. But I'm JTXRP. Please, if you want to learn more about Treasury and some of the other projects covered on Bloc, I'm only going to be covering Bloc projects almost exclusively. So we'll please make sure to, if you're interested in what they are and what they're doing, go check me out there. But thank you so much, Duncan. I'm JTXRP. This is Duncan. We're out. Cool.